let me tell you about myself first. So what I do as my profession, my career, is I'm actually a personal trainer. I'm a fitness instructor and a personal trainer. Most of my clients are one-to-one personal training clients. I also do group exercises, group classes, corporate classes. But my the main thing that I do is actually one-to-one personal training. So in my experience, I've been doing this job for about 5 years now. And in my experience, I realized that this phrase, I want, is the make or break in whatever you want to achieve, especially in your life, in fitness, in health, in your career, whatever it is. It's how much you want it. And that relates to my book as well. That relates to the whole Ironman journey. It's how much I wanted it. And I realized that whenever I see a client who in the end of a 20-session package or a 30-session package, the people who succeed are the people who say they want. They really want it. I want this. And the people who, I as their trainer, I try to do my best. But at the end of the day, we have to meet each other halfway. And the person who don't get to their goals as fast as possible are the people who kind of say, I think, or I may, or that sort of thing. But I want is a very strong phrase. And I just read about my personality. I'm a choleric. I didn't know that until a month ago. So it's a very choleric type of phrase to say, I want. It may sound a bit bossy, it may sound a bit intimidating, but in life, I realized through my Ironman journey, through my whole career, I realized that when you say I want, something else actually sparks inside you. You don't have to tell the world, you don't have to post it on Facebook, say I want to do this. You just have to admit it to yourself that you want something. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, the power of wanting something, what you really want. All right? And to me, I think that is the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself. So this is me. This photo is also in the book. This was probably about 6, 7, somewhere there. And I grew up quite active. So of course, continuing on into sport and fitness is quite natural for me. But I'll tell you something about myself as a kid. This was my favorite phrase. I like lah. Everything I did as a child, whenever I wanted to do something, my parents would tell me, no, Karen, or no, girl, you cannot do this. And I'll just say, no, I like lah. I like to do, I want to do. And it sounds like a very bratty thing to say. But that is what I am like. And this has, although I've learned over the years to be a bit more mature and more responsible, but this little personality trait of mine has kind of stuck around. You can ask my parents, you can ask my husband. They all will say the same thing. If I want something, I'll get it. Because I like lah, right? So when you want something, you got to know what is it that you want. That's the first thing, basically. It seems simple enough. Of course I know what I want, but do you really know what you want? When you think about it, think about these things. Think about what is it that you want? What exactly? Not just, I want to get fitter. How much fitter? How much fitter do you want to be? What size? How big do you want to go? You know, what sort of speed, at what sort of speed do you want to achieve this? I want to achieve it within this year. I want to achieve it within the next 5 years. What sort of pace, in what sort of time? I want to spend 24 hours a day doing it. I want to spend only 1 hour a day doing it. What exactly do you want to do? You need to know. Okay, you really need to know what exactly do you want. And age is obvious, is a very common timeline that people give to themselves. People always say, I want to achieve this by this age. I want to achieve this by that age. Same thing with the Ironman. One of the major reasons I also I have to finish it last year was because I really wanted to achieve it before I turned 30. So I turned 30 this year. So I did it last year. I was very happy. And then of course after that is why. Why do you want to do this so badly? Whatever it is that you want to do. Say you want to just run a marathon. Say you want to just run 10 kilometers. It doesn't matter what is it that you want? Why do you want it? You have to know. Why do I want this? Why does my family want me to do this? Why does my partner want me to do this? Why do I need to do this? What am I doing this for? You know, why am I doing this? Or why does it have to, if I'm going to run, why does it have to be 10 kilometers? Why does it have to be the Ironman? Why can't it just be a shorter distance? Why do I have to do it by 30? All these things, you don't need to tell the world, you just need to tell yourself. You just need to ask yourself why. And when you start asking yourself, and when you start reflecting on all these questions, and you start thinking, and then you start to formulate the desire to get it done. That's my opinion. And then it comes to the how, which is obviously the hardest part. A lot of the beginning one, the what and the why, very easy. When you start, you just sit down, take a piece of pen and paper, and you just write it down. Quite easy to formulate all this. But when you start thinking of the how, obviously this becomes a bit more challenging. So how can I get it? How do I get there? How do I start? And after I start, how do I continue? And after I continue, how do I finish? What if I don't finish? How do I get there? How do I get to what I want or where I want to be? Now this is obviously, it's tough, and that is why not many people get to their goals. Many people set goals. We are all taught to set goals from a very young age, from school time. We are all taught to set goals when we start work. We are all taught to set goals in life, but not everybody 100% achieve their goals. And I think that the stumbling block is this question, how? People don't know how. People don't know how to start, even. And some people, they know how to start. Once they start, how do I continue? People don't know that. How do I go on? Or how do I even finish? Sometimes, yeah, they can carry on a little bit, but that last 20%, they give up. That happens to anything in life, okay? How do I get there? This question, how, if you can answer it, if everybody can answer it, we'll all be millionaires, okay? It is okay to ask for help. And this is where I feel, as a fitness professional or a fitness instructor, I feel that I can help in terms of fitness, all right? This is where I can try and guide people to get to where they want to be in terms of health and fitness. You can get yourself a personal trainer. Now, I know a personal trainer is not for everybody, okay? It is expensive. I would like to think that I'm quite expensive. But basically, I know it's not for everybody, but this is an option. Again, once you look at this, you think again, what do you want? Why do you want it? Is it worth it? Okay? Or if you don't want a personal trainer, you can find a workout buddy, someone to work out with you, which in my experience also, 100% success rate. If you get somebody to do the things that you want to do together with you, most likely it will happen. You won't feng fei ge your friend one. Okay, you will go for it. Alright? And this is something we probably don't do enough when we want something, is to read and research about it. I'm not very good at this as well. And I would like to thank my husband for always pushing me to read and research about whatever I want more. And it's a good thing. And I think once you know more about what you want, for example, say, I want to run a marathon in under 4 hours, for example. I thought, hey, I'm a fitness coach, I'm a runner, I can probably come up with a program for myself. But then there's a lot of things, and until now, after 5 years of coaching, until now I still learn new things. I just learned about a new thing called post running. It's not new anymore, many people do post running, but I just learned about it. So reading and researching about what you want can actually open up your eyes to new things, new opportunities, and new reasons to why you want it as well. Read and research. The more you know about this goal, the more you know about this place that you want to get to, the more you want to get there. Or maybe less, I don't know, but most likely the more you want to get there, the more you learn about it. Read and research. We are in the age of information at our fingertips. Get equipped. Okay, whatever you want to do, whatever sport you want to do, whatever sort of fitness you want to achieve, I would say get yourself equipped. Get the proper equipment, proper attire, proper gears. Again, we are in the stage of information technology. Use technology, okay? Especially in fitness, really, you can really get a lot of stuff for free on your smartphone. There are so many things. I just downloaded a new app which can trace technique for weightlifting, running. You just have to video, and then you can play the video in slow-mo. You can draw angles and say, oh, my body angle is like this, it should be like this. It's completely free, this app. If you want the name of the app, come ask me later. I'm not endorsing it, by the way. It's just that I just found out about it. So use technology. And of course, the 4-letter word that we all know we have to do, but we don't always do. Even I myself. I never knew how important, I know, obviously I know planning is important. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We all know that. We've heard this 1,000 times. But I've always been poor at planning, to be very honest. It wasn't until I attempted to do the Ironman that I discovered how important it is to plan. And it's crazy, it blew my mind when I started to plan my program for this week, for next week, for the month, for the 6th month, how I was going to peak in my training, how I was going to taper and recover. When I planned everything out, I realized it took half the burden off my shoulders. It was so much easier to get into it. Plan. Whatever you want to do, plan. Plan and see if you are able to cope with this plan. Whatever it is, like I said, you want to bring your, for example, cholesterol down. Plan as well. By when? How am I going to do this? Can I spare half an hour every day to work on this? Is it achievable within this time frame? Plan. Read about it, plan. That is, to me, the most important thing in this list here, which is the plan. Alright? And of course, once you've done those 3 parts, the question is when? Okay, when do you start? Why not now? It doesn't have to be now, of course. It could be next week, next month, next 2 months. For whatever reason, make sure that when you say that time, that's when you start. Don't tell yourself, maybe next time lah. Next time lah doesn't come. It doesn't ever come, okay? So, of course, on my part here, I would say, why not now? Why don't start now? But again, I know that we are working people. I know that we have commitments, family commitments, working commitments, time commitment. It is not always possible to start now. We can be very realistic. Again, you don't have to put it up on Facebook. I cannot start now because blah, blah, blah. Don't have to tell anybody. Talk to yourself and just ask yourself, okay, if not now, when? And then set a date for yourself. And make sure you honor that. Alright? This is a very common phrase again. Journey of 1,000 miles, start with a single step. It's very, very true for everything in life. The Ironman is a really long journey, but it also starts with a single step. That step out to go to the gym, that step out to go to the swimming pool, it starts with that step. So for anything you want, I'm not saying, all of you please go do the Ironman tomorrow, don't, okay? I'm saying that whatever in life that you want to achieve, and from my perspective, if you want to achieve a certain health or fitness goal, it all starts with one step. Take that first step, and then slowly get there. Alright? That is on what I think from my own honest opinion of how you should approach your goals, your fitness and health goals. Do you have any questions for me? Anybody wants any question? Any sort of health fitness question? Open to public now. Any questions? No? Yes?
Diet killer.
Carbohydrates, is carbohydrate a diet killer? What if I'm on a high carbohydrate diet, which I kind of am now because I'm running the marathon on Sunday? Okay, carbohydrates is not the pure evil. Again, if you've done enough reading and researching, you'll realize that carbohydrates is not pure evil. There are a lot of people who need carbohydrates to function. Endurance athletes, most of them, we need carbohydrates. One major misconception I find is that people often don't realize that things like sugar, fruits and vegetables also have carbohydrate. To us, carbohydrate is only rice and bread and pasta. So when you start realizing this, and then when you say that, oh, I don't eat carbs, but there you are drinking your fruit juice, your sugar drink, you're actually taking in carbs, which you don't realize. Okay? So if you're talking about whether carbohydrate is a diet killer, I wouldn't say it kills it. I just think that a lot of people are unaware. What is it? What constitutes carbohydrate? And if you are on a quest to lose some weight, most often we tell people to cut down on their carbohydrate. But cutting down doesn't mean go cold turkey all the way off. Again, that approach doesn't always work. It may work for some people. I've seen some very, very, very disciplined people, very dedicated, very committed. It is not for everybody. Okay, so you can cut it down gradually if weight loss is your intention. If you have high blood sugar, that is also something that we recommend, cutting down carbohydrates. But apart from that, don't take it off completely. We are Asian, we need our carbohydrates. Thank you for the question. Any other questions?
It's always we have a heavy meal for breakfast. Then a couple hours later we have lunch, but it's always so hard to know how much we should eat.
Okay. So when it comes to eating, and when it comes to watching calories and your weight, it's all mathematical. It's actually very scientific. If you want to gain weight, you eat more than you burn. If you want to lose weight, you eat less than you burn. Now people will always count the number of calories that they consume, and then they count it in their food. And then they do the exercise, and then they count the calories to subtract. But then you don't realize that just sitting down right now, you're also burning calories. We have a basic metabolic rate, a basal metabolic rate, whereby calories are being burned just to breathe, just to stand up, just to sit down, just to stay awake, just to walk, just for your heart to beat. So that also needs to be put into the equation. Okay? How do you plan how much to eat? Again, comes back to your goals. Are you planning to lose weight, or are you planning to gain weight? What sort of sports do you do? Are you doing something that is very high in endurance, or something very high in strength, power, like lifting weights, something like that? That has to be taken into consideration when you plan your food, when you plan your meals. I think that in a general rule, having a heavy breakfast, a medium lunch, and a very light dinner is the way to go. But of course, for being Asian, again, it's very difficult for us. We always skip breakfast, we always eat a very heavy dinner very late at night. If we can try to flip that around, eat a heavy breakfast, and again, start breakfast, meaning not to say, I wake up at 8 o'clock, I have my breakfast at 10 o'clock. Doesn't work that way. You wake up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, you have your breakfast within 45 minutes or within that hour. Then it's breakfast. Otherwise, it's brunch. Okay? And then you have a medium lunch. And the reason for this is because we are constantly moving throughout the day. You go to work, we have to drive, we have to, climb staircase, we have to do stuff. So it's okay to have heavier meals in the morning. When we are getting ready to sleep, our metabolism goes down. So we want to keep our dinners light. The closer your dinner is to your bedtime, the lighter your meals have to be. If you someone who works longer hours, say you finish at about 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I would say a very simple light meal before you go to sleep. Something like a fruit, yogurt. If you get hungry in the evening and you're still working, then you can eat something at about 6, 7 o'clock. Okay? But towards bedtime, keep it light. Any other questions? Yes?
The week before, let's say a marathon or any other run, what is your training like? What do you do?
Okay, so the week before, like a major race, for example, what do I do? In terms of training? In terms of training, usually the week before you kind of bring it down a notch. It's called tapering. you do shorter exercises, but at a high intensity. So if I'm training for the marathon, last month or so, it'll be 30-kilometer runs, 25-kilometer runs. Come now, it's nothing more than, well, I plan to do one more last 10 km run tomorrow. That's my plan. And then after that, it'll be like a 5K fast run or interval running. All short distances. That should be, to me, that should be the way. And space it out. Make sure we have a lot of time to recover. Yeah. I would say do absolutely nothing 2 days before. So Friday and Saturday, do nothing. Yeah.
Speaking of recovery, what sort of things do you do to rest and recover between workouts and races?
Lots of stretching. So his question is what sort of things you do between workouts and between races. Lots of stretching. I would say the day right after an intense workout or the day right after an intense race, I generally either go for, if I can, go for a swim. If not, go for yoga. If not, go for a very, very light run. Very slow, easy run, you know. Yeah. Yeah, very slow, easy run the day right after. You know, something to just get rid of the excess lactic acid and just kind of take it easy on your muscles. And of course, drink a lot of water. Any more questions? No? Alright. Okay, so before I finish, now we have a problem, there's no speaker. And I tried putting my mic there, it doesn't ring clear. But this video clip is 30 seconds. A friend who was there videoing for Astro happened to catch this for me, and I'm forever grateful. Every time I watch this, I still cry. It was very emotional, but this was my finishing at the Langkawi Ironman last year. I don't know where is my speaker. Yeah. I don't know where's my, yeah? Oh yeah. Yeah. So that was me finishing the Ironman. It's very emotional. I was crying all the way. My whole family was there. Husband was there. Everybody was there. I was very, very touched. I could barely walk. After this, once this camera stops, after that I could barely walk. But during that time, I think I was still high on endorphins. But yeah, it was a very emotional moment. And that song, I never thought I would like One Direction, but that song became my ringtone for a good 2 months after that. I was so in love with that song after that because it was like, oh, finish Ironman. Yeah, so that's all I have for my fitness talk. Any questions?
Question.
Yes?
Karen, how long does it take you to write the book? Okay, and what is the hardest chapter to write?
Okay. So we're going to talk about the book now, all right? So his question was, how long did it take me to write the book, and which chapter was the hardest chapter? Now, to me, it took me. Un approached me sometime in December before Christmas. So I did the race in November. I started, and then it was Christmas, so I stopped. And then I think I kind of really got started again late January, and I finished this in April. So it's about 4 months. Yeah. The hardest chapter for me to write would probably be the 3 chapters of the training itself. Because there's just so much to write. I mean, I could make it very technical and talk about every single session. Every single session was so different. There were different goals and targets for each different segment, each different training session. But I also wanted to inject my emotions, what I felt when I was going through these training sessions. And to me, that was difficult, finding that balance between how technical do I want my book to be and how much of my emotions do I want to share with people. So the 3 chapters on swim, bike, run, that was quite tough. And also because I was trying to recall everything again. I started when I was doing my training, I started a very rough diary, training log, but then later I just got too tired to continue. So that's why training logs are actually very good to just kind of document that. So because I kind of stopped in my training log, so I had to dig back my memory. Luckily, there's social media to kind of help prompt my memory. Yeah. Thanks. Any other questions?
One more question. Okay, so becoming an Ironman is your a thing to do before 30. So what is your plan before you turn 40?
Oh wow! What is my plan before I turn 40? Well, that's 10 years from now. I'm gonna start a new life with my new husband. So there's going to be plans of focusing on myself, family plans, of course. But in terms of any more fitness achievements, fitness goals, I would like to do another Ironman, definitely. Not in Malaysia, because I've already tried it out, so I want to try another place out. I'm still very passionate about running. Running is my favorite out of the 3 disciplines. So I want to focus on improving my marathon time. Yeah.
What's the time now, your PB?
Oh man, my PB now, oh shoot, if I say this, you guys are going to track me next Sunday. My PB now is 3:55, 3 hours 55. So my target is sub 3:55 for next Sunday, but we'll see. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Okay, cool.